name's Wilper Hinirato. I am a BS Bio major in medical biology. I am a first year student. Now let us all begin. Let us talk about how science and technology is relevant in today's society. Now, when I was in my first year high school, I encountered research. And now, when I encountered research, I thought that it was an easy task to do. Now, let us skip in the boring part of the story and let us start on what I learned. In research, I thought that it was so easy that I procrastinated, and I even thought to myself that this is easy for me to do. And not I am not so proud of myself in saying this, not to brag about this, but I did my research in just one day. A full research from starting to chapter 1 to chapter 3. And I was so proud of myself that I thought, that, wow, I'm so smart. My other classmates, they racked their brains from almost months, and I only did it in just one day. But later did I know that the research that I gave to my professor was full of plagiarisms. And I am so shocked that it hurt my ego that the research that I was so highly confident about was full of plagiarisms. And now this is the wrong thing that I did. I was so over-reliant in science and technology because science and technology had provided us easier access for information and other researches that I could even copy, and that is why I made a mistake in committing plagiarism. Now, before we dive in further, I would like to tell you on what is science and technology. Science is the systematic study of physical and natural world through observations and experiments. And technology is the practical knowledge of the application that we do for practical purposes. Now, science and technology has positive and negative effects. But what I can tell to you is that I believe that there is only positive effects in science and technology, and there is no negative effects, only misused in an incorrect way. Now let us start for the positive effects. The positive effects of science and technology is how we were able to find the cures, medications, how we were able to find new inventions, researches, new technologies, gadgets, how we were able to create a microscope. Now, the microscope was solely created for us to see the things that are not visible in the naked eye. The incubator provided by Dr. Martin Cooper. He created the incubator so that the infancy mortality death rate will be reduced. Now, this is the purpose of science and technology. The purpose of science and technology is to solve the issues faced in our society today. We create other inventions, we create science and technology, and we further research about it for the sole purpose on finding solutions in a specific issue in our society. Now, a good example for this is an aqueduct in the Roman era. The aqueduct was created by the engineers for the purpose in providing fresh water to the largely polluted areas in Rome. Now, this is very important for you to know because an aqueduct was only created because of the further research of engineers and the knowledge that they used in creating a aqueduct system. Now, talking about the negative effects or how science and technology may be misused, I personally experienced, and I am not proud of it, that I was so overly reliant in science and technology that I committed plagiarism. Now, the negative effects are when you are so overly reliant and when you are so overused in technology and science, we may be isolated, delay in social communication skills, delay in the lack of morals, and also, most of all, when we are so preoccupied in mobile games and social media, we may lack the quality time of sleep that we have. Now, take Albert Einstein's story for an example. When he was a child, he had a habit to socially isolate himself from other children. He was so preoccupied in his thinking and also by playing his violin, and take notes that a violin is also one of the technologies that the humans created. Now, I am not saying that creating inventions or so being preoccupied in your mind is a bad thing, because critical thinking is also important for us. But what I am saying, the relationships that Albert Einstein missed in his childhood was wasted. Relationships are important, especially when we spend time for our friends and families. Now, Albert Einstein learned this when he grew up. Because we know, and from the research, it says that Albert Einstein never conducted research, never conducted inventions alone. He always had a companion to help him with, because relationships are where we need to have. Because when we face mental lockdown, that friend or that relationship we have may be the reason that we have a successful invention or research. Now, a certain study in 2017 conducted by ESA, he stated that from the ages of 19 to 32, people who tend to use frequently social media are 3 times more likely to feel isolated than the people who use social media less frequently. Now, it is important for us to know that science and technology is very useful today, especially in the 21st century, because it had a great impact in our lives, especially in how fast the information can be spread by just a simple vlog or video. It is so simple to find knowledge or information about other countries or news on what is happening in specific countries because of social media and because of just a few simple clicks in our computer. We can find new knowledge, and this is where we must act responsible enough. And now, medications and the form of new life energy, these are only a few examples of how science and technology has evolved. Now, as I was saying, a lack of social interaction skills and a more interaction time for machine and humans is a few examples for an overly used in technology. Now, we must all know that when we use technology, we must be responsible enough to learn from it. And when we learn from it, we do not only memorize it by using the parrot strategy. And the parrot strategy is just by memorizing concepts or ideas. and only familiarizing it. And to the point when we take an exam, if we forgot about it because we only memorized it, we will only say in our minds, why is this question familiar? But when we learn it in a context of the specific situation, and when we learn from it through our hearts and minds, we may be able to put it in our long-term memory. And when we find for a certain information, that long-term memory may be useful in our future lives. In conclusion, science and technology is very useful, and it matters when we use it correctly or incorrectly, that it may positively affect us in our lives. Because science and technology can be used in our advantage. We may be able to use science and technology in our lives, and you may be the one to find the cure in cancer, to find the cure in AIDS, to find an invention to help us in time travel, or maybe make a flying car invention. Maybe you may be the reason why science and technology had evolved. We must all learn that education is priceless and a never-ending cycle, because education will only begin when we are out of our lives. And now, I would like to tell you that as human beings, it is our responsibility to keep our honesty, to keep our integrity, to keep our responsibility in learning new things and researching for new things, because the purpose of science and technology in our society is to find a solution that the society is having problems with, to find a solution in a certain issue in our society. That is why science and technology is relevant in our society. It is important for you to know, as students, that we must not use science and technology in an incorrect way. We must not be reliant, but we must use it in our advantage. Because today, in our modern era, science and technology will continually evolve. And when it does, we will be able to use it and utilize it in a correct way, where we will be able to find new inventions to help our society. That is all for this afternoon, and I hope that you have learned the 3 points that I pointed out. So to recap, the first point is that there is no negative effects, only misused ways or incorrect ways in using science and technology. The second point is education is a never-endless cycle. It will only begin when we are out of our lives. And the final point, the most important point of all, never stop thinking. We must be innovative in our ideas. We must critically think and be creative in our ideas. Because when we think critically, we will be able to find new inventions on how to improve our society. That is all for this afternoon. Thank you, and God bless.